Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris and welcome to our final LEGO Avatar Wave 2 set review. This is set number 75579, Payakan the Tulkun and Crabsuit, featuring a majestic new large whale-like creature for the first time in LEGO form with a ton of brand new molds, as well as a little bit of representation on the human side as well for the Crabsuits used throughout the film. Now, of course, this video will just be summarizing a review on this one set, but if you want to see my review on the entire Avatar Wave 2 sets, as well as all the ones from Wave 1, definitely go check out the Avatar Reviews playlist linked in the description below. And so without further ado, I think it's time we just jump right into the review of set number 75579. Alright, so this right here is the largest set of Avatar Wave 2. This is set number 75579, Payakan the Tulkun and Crabsuit. And it's really cool that LEGO made a set based off of the best character in the movie, Payakan. So this set features only 3 minifigures for $100, which is kind of weird, but I also don't really know who else they could have included. Specifically, it has Loak, Saria, and the Crabsuit diver. Although unfortunately, we get our first repeat here in the form of Saria. She actually appears in the smallest $25 set. So really, this only has 2 exclusive minifigures, and one of them is just a random guy. Like, this is one of the only characters in the entire Avatar lineup who's just a random soldier. So it's kind of interesting how the minifigure selection is not too strong here, but then again, I mean, you're getting the best character of the movie as the main build, so who am I to complain? He's like 10 minifigures in and of himself, maybe even more. So the set is pretty divided between, obviously the main focus is on the Tulkun itself, but you also do have the Crabsuit, which was one of the many vehicles that was kind of on the villain-human faction of the movie itself. We'll take a look at the Crabsuit in a second, and of course the minifigures at the end of the video, but I do want to focus specifically on the main builds themselves. So let me just get the figures out of the way, we'll take a look at them later, and just focus in on the builds. So starting off with Payakan here. This is a remarkable LEGO build. LEGO has never done anything like this ever before. They've never really done a whale before in LEGO form that wasn't from like Duplo. They've never done a creature that was this big featuring this large of a molded head. This is a lot of firsts for LEGO, and this is really exciting because it opens the door to maybe being able to do a lot more things in the future. One of the most unique features of the Tulkun and of course Payakan himself is that they actually have mandibles. So the way that they eat is that they actually can open their mouths like this, and they also have like connection points in the back of their mouths and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff, but you can open it all the way here, and you have a very, very hollow space for actual minifigures to get swallowed up. So for example, again, there will be very minor spoilers for the movie here, just talking about in terms of how good these are in replicating scenes and how accurate they are. But if you wanted to, you can fully fit a minifigure in here. It should be even larger. Like, Payakan is a massive, massive creature, but given the scale of LEGO, I think this is a pretty okay scale. And you can have your character go all the way inside, which is a really useful thing. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but you actually have an orange piece on the back here. Again, I don't want to spoil the movie, but there is a point in the movie where this particular character opens his mouth, and you see in the back of his throat there is something that is orange colored. Won't say anything more than that, but I don't know if that was even known to the designers. This may just be a really happy coincidence, but I appreciate how they actually included that in, even if it was intentional or not, because it is a really good replication of the movie. Now, the way the jaw closes up is you just close it up like this, and each of these is a brand new mold. And interesting enough, it came in a paper bag, which I found particularly odd, but you know, that was cool to see a paper bag being used here. This entire headpiece is one massive mold, and then each of the mandibles is a new mold itself. So altogether, they make up the massive jaw of this whale, which is just such a cool looking creature to have. Now this character actually does have articulation, where you can see you can move this, and it is using the kind of ratchet joint, so that's really strong to kind of have him be swimming back and forth. Obviously you can have the tail being moving here, so if you want, you can really replicate a swimming motion, having the tail be flipping all sorts of ways, which is something I really do appreciate just how posable this is as a LEGO build. Obviously you can move each of these 2 fins as well on the ratchets themselves. You can move these little trails along, and one thing that I was a little bit confused about while building was that why the one fin was a different build than the other. watch the movie and you will understand exactly why one of these is asymmetrical, and I actually really appreciate right now how LEGO went to that amount of detail. This is not just any Tulkun, this is a particular character, and the particular character has a bit of an asymmetry in his fin, and that was a really important detail in the movie as to how that happened, and I love how LEGO was able to include that, although unfortunately if you look at the printing on the head, his eyes are just normal. He's supposed to technically have like a scar here, but they didn't include that, but they included pretty much everything else, so everything about this is just really cool. Now, for $100, this is like perfect because not only are you getting 3 brand new massive molds, you're getting this massive whale-like creature, this is really big. This is a really solid creature to have in hand. It's only $100 too, which feels like kind of a steal because you're also getting this particular Crabsuit. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself when talking about value, but this I think is probably one of the best sets out of all the Avatar waves, and one of my favorites in terms of value in general. Moving on from the Tulkun here, though, which I could gush about all day, the color scheme is so cool. The dark blue and the white is just perfect. The dark red markings are great, and I love the little bits and pieces of teal that you can see poking through as well. Just the perfect color scheme for an undersea creature. Focusing in on the Crabsuit here, this was another very prominent vehicle being used. Now, the Crabsuit can just be detached like this, and you can kind of have it be walking along, so that is a cool thing. One thing that was featured in the movie is that these can actually fold up and act as their own submarines, and they actually do show that in the instructions. There is a very complicated instruction which kind of shows exactly how you should be folding it up, and it actually had like a top-down view. Oh, here's exactly how you fold it up and get all the legs in, but I mean, you can just do this, and this looks fine. Like, I'm sure there's a better way to do it. I think the way you're supposed to do it is you fold the arms backwards like this, and then I think maybe you're supposed to like reverse these or something like that and tuck these in. There's some configuration you're supposed to do, but honestly this is fine. Like, this works totally okay, and this acts as its own folded up submarine, and these are fast. These are really cool, and it's really cool how they were able to integrate a lot of different studs on the side building techniques for the way that these are designed. I really do like how this all came together, and for a theme that isn't really interested or focused on the human stuff, a lot of the human stuff is really cool. I mean, this is a really cool looking submersible craft. You can have it standing on the 4 legs and kind of crawling along. And you also have these very menacing looking grabber arms on the sides of it, which can really be articulated in every different direction. So altogether, this is a really cool looking vehicle and the perfect side build to this because this featured a lot in scenes that also featured the Tulkun, so it makes sense to include both of them together. You can rotate the fin up and downwards if you want to change the position of the way that you're swimming, and altogether, this is just a really compact, fun-looking build that is about as good as the actual other model included in the set as well. So well done for a great playset like this. So in terms of value, the only complaint that I have are probably the minifigures. Having only 3 minifigures and one of them being a repeat from other sets isn't great. I personally would have definitely preferred it if they had given us different characters, maybe if they included a different version of the main villain because he was around during a lot of the scenes, or just given us different characters in general other than a repeat. That would have been cool, and obviously one of them is just an army grunt, which is kind of funny how it's just like a random dude included in the largest set. But overall, again, the focus here isn't the minifigs. The minifigs, you can keep them or leave them. You really only need one minifigure with the set, and that's this guy right here. And for story reasons, he needs to be with the Tulkun. But everything else, I mean, you can take him or leave him. The focus here is on old Payakan, and he is wonderful. And I hope this opens the door to LEGO doing more stuff like this in the future, because this is just such a cool model. But with that, I think it's time to dive into the minifigures now that we've taken a look at the largest set of the wave. Alright, so here's the minifigure selection for Payakan the Tulkun and Crabsuit. It only comes with 3 minifigures, Loak, Tsaria, and a Crabsuit Diver is his official name, or Crabsuit Driver, my apologies. Again, just a generic army guy here. The main focus, obviously, is Loak. This is the only set he appears in, and being one of the most prominent characters of the movie, I really wanted to make sure that he was done well. And I'm happy to say that he is. I really like the pattern of metallic dots reflecting when they catch the light. That is something that you can really see on the underwater scenes of the movie, and I like how you can only see it in particular lighting conditions. The overall composition of the minifigure is pretty good. These are meant to represent teenagers, again, so they have the regular limbs and legs, which is really cool how they were basically doing things at different scales. And overall, I think the expression is good. It's a shame he only appears in the most expensive set, although he does have a special bond with the creature in the movie, so it definitely makes sense to include only him in this set. If you're going to include him in one set, this is the one to have it. Unfortunately, There is a repeat minifigure here. Saria is a repeat, and I'm honestly kind of surprised she is the only repeat across the entire Avatar wave. She is the only exact duplicate character we have gotten ever. All the other ones are either in different outfits, like we get 4 different versions of Jake Sully, for example, but Saria is the only one that is a repeat, and it is okay. I definitely do wish that she had a different mold for the tail, being more of a flat tail, like a fish tail, which was a big emphasis in the movie, how the water-dwelling Na'vi had different styles of tails. But it's not a big deal. I think this is a fairly decent minifigure on its own, and overall, I'm pretty happy with the minifigures included in the set. I just wish that there were more. Yeah, the Crabsuit driver is okay. It's nice actually for LEGO military people or people who want to make modern, realistic military stuff to get a torso and legs like this, because this is probably the closest you'll get to an actual camo style of modern military design for a LEGO minifigure from an official set. So it is cool to get that for army building, but he's just a dude. Would have been cool to get like the main villains or stuff like that in the set itself, or actually, there's one character that I really do wish we get. Again, minor spoilers, I'm not even going to say his name, but there is specifically a hunter character who is very associated with the Tulkun and with Payakan, and there are a lot of scenes in the movie dedicated to the hunter trying to catch this whale-like creature. He's basically a secondary villain, and I really do wish that instead of the Crabsuit driver, we got him as a figure, because I feel like that would have been much more memorable of a character to include. If you're gonna include only 3 characters, would have been cool to get him as an extra, but I guess it makes sense. Sure, he never drove a Crabsuit in the movie, but then again, for the main Mako submarine set, the 2 main, or I guess one of the main villains pilots it as well as Spider, and they never piloted the submarine, so I feel like LEGO could take some liberties there with who's piloting what and just have the main hunter dude piloting it. Would have made this conflict be a lot more personal than some guy, but maybe LEGO just didn't have access to that, so it's not that big of a deal. I just hope we get a minifigure of him sometime in the future, because it seems like a pretty notable omission for the villain faction. Overall, though, the figures are pretty good. I definitely like a lot of the other adult ones a little bit better because they feel just a little bit more special having the longer limbs, but these are good as well, and I think Saria, despite being a repeat, is one of my favorites in terms of really capturing the actress likeness, as well as having a very unique and vibrant skin tone. Alright, and with that we have summed up our review of set number 75579, featuring one of the most majestic large-scale ocean creatures that LEGO has pretty much ever done. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the set? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? And what do you think of the concept of making these large sets based around large LEGO creatures that do feature some new molds but are mostly brick-built? Because I certainly think they could do a lot with this concept, like a Mosasaurus from Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, for instance, would be perfect for a set of this size. But that's just my thoughts, and again, let me know yours down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duck Bricks, and be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye for now.